So before this review begins, I would first like to address a couple things. First off, I have been trying to record this video. Hey, bud. Oh, now he's walking around. I've been trying to record this video for mostly just days now. Like, for the last couple days. I saw this movie a couple days ago, and I've been trying to record a review for it. And I've just been mostly unsuccessful with recording it. It's kind of distracting them. Got him in my lap. Whatever. So now I'm sitting down, I'm finally trying to record it, and the creator of this movie made a little video. I think the video is funny. It's for Invader Zim, which I've never seen, but I'm just going to show it real quickly before this review begins.
As you know, tomorrow is Peace Day, and nobody is as excited for the big celebration as I am. I am! Not scientifically possible!
And the next issue that you've all noticed is that I'm sitting down today. I'm not standing up as usual. Well, it's actually because if you wanted to hear what the audio sounds like in that room, you would hear me with this audio quality. The greatest audio quality that any video should ever have. Like this echo. Yeah, you totally want to hear me do that, right? Right? I'm installing some audio panels in the room. And I've emptied the entire thing out, meaning it's all echo. There's nothing. So, until I finally finish that room, I'm not going to be using it. And suckagely, I have so many movies to film. I have a lot of movies to see in theaters. I am just a busy human being. And I have like 4 essays, because I'm nearly in high school. But the point is that I watched this movie. I want to try and review it finally. If this review sucks, I'm sorry. I want to finally get this video out. And I'm going to go spoilers in this review because I felt very held back not spoiling it. So, you ready? You ready, Stitch? Let's review The Era of the Man with the Red Eyes.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money,
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar.
The Era of the Man with the Red Eyes. I don't know if it's a Wrinkle in Time fanfiction. I'm still trying to figure that out. Hey, bud, are you out and about again? Well, he's out and about again. So, The Era of the Man with the Red Eyes is the third installment into the Man with the Red Eyes trilogy. Link in the description to the studio, Dark Star Studios. I put a link in the description to all their short films. Go subscribe to them. Kind of like me, I'm also going to put a link in the description to KFDM Studios. Well, there always is one in there. But, kind of like me, this studio makes short films, not very long movies. They make longer movies than I make, but they're not incredibly long. They're mostly pretty short. And I've reviewed all of their movies, besides this one, on my podcast. Now, if you're wondering why am I making a review for this one specifically, first off, this is the most excited I've been for one of their movies. And second off, because this movie is a lot more, let's say, well, I don't want to revive the podcast again, because, yeah, the podcast died. I don't know when I'm going to revive it. I will make another episode, hopefully one day, but I've always wanted to do a podcast where every week I invite a new guest. I'm going to do my first big collaboration soon, or later this year. I'm not going to tell you any other details. It's going to be a huge video, huge project coming out early next year. I'm going to invite a bunch of other YouTubers to help me create the video. I'm not going to announce what it is yet or anything, but I've not done a collaboration, so I don't want to revive the podcast for this movie and this movie only. So I felt better of just recording a review for it. Now I'm realizing that the one nice thing about a podcast is that it can be a mess. Like, that's the way podcasts are. You just talk. That's what you do. And movie reviews, I have to give it an order. So I'm going to kind of treat this like a podcast. I'm not going to, because I'm sitting in this chair. This is a really nice chair. I'm usually really relaxed when I'm in this chair, and I'm sitting down. So usually when I'm standing up, I have a lot less energy because I'm using energy to stand up. Right now, I'm using no energy besides my vocals and waving my hands around. But the point is that this is going to be a very unstructured review. But I'm going to try my best to go through it. And I haven't really explained what this trilogy is. So I guess it's a somewhat not really. I don't want to call it fan fiction because there's no characters from A Wrinkle in Time, and I'm never going to call this fan fiction of the 2018 film because I don't like that movie very much. I think all of you know that. But I wouldn't call this fan fiction. I'd call this Okay, technically it's fan fiction, but I'm not going to call it that. But I guess it's about the character, the man with the red eyes, and it's a crazy universe. And it's very budgetary constrained. There's obviously not a lot of money put into these movies, because they are YouTube films that don't even get like 100 views. So it's not surprising that these films aren't huge and they don't have crazy amounts of money behind them. I don't know. I don't want to say there's no money put behind this, but I would assume that $0 to $100 were spent to this. Honestly, I've never spent a penny on my films, so that's how I see it. But I enjoyed the first two. Just to get out of the way, for people who listen to my podcast, I really did enjoy the first two. They were clever, they were well written, they were entertaining, and now I'm here at this one. And I enjoyed this one more than the first two. This movie actually did take a couple days. I'm happy I'm recording this video now, because after a few days of thinking of this movie, it got better for me. Like, weirdly, I did not like the first two. They're good, and so Critics, another movie that they made that I really enjoyed. I watched them, and I was like, that's good, but I never really thought about them again. Like, I thought about them, but, like, not in the sense of, like, ooh, I liked that thing. I just kind of was like, oh, I'm entertained by them, and then I kind of forgot about them. And then with this movie, when I finished it, I was left kind of disturbed by the darkness of it. And I was like, days later, that was a weird way to say it, the darkness of it. I was kind of disturbed by the darkness of the film. And not in a sense of like, ooh, that's creepy, or oh, that like shocked me. I was just like, I just liked it so much. And it just kept coming back to me. And this was really good movie. This was, like, I don't mean that, like, in the, oh, I'm trying to be nice because I know the creator will watch this video. I'm not trying to be nice. No, I mean it. I really liked this movie. It's a near 50 minutes. It felt usefully 50 minutes. Like, clearly, I follow the guy on Twitter. Clearly, it's not like, when you watch the whole stages of production, it's clear that this wasn't, I need to wake the computer up. It's clear that this wasn't some production that took, like, it's clear, I keep messing that up. It's clear that this wasn't some gigantic, like, just trying to stretch the runtime. No. Clearly, this movie was filmed, added on, just added up to 50 minutes. I never try to make a film a specific runtime. Sometimes in post, I'll add, like, a couple seconds of black screen at the end, just so I can maybe, like, if it's, like, 7 minutes and, like, 50 seconds, sometimes I'll add, like, 10 seconds of screen, just to hit the 8-minute mark, things like that. But I never specifically make a scene to make a film longer. It might seem like I do, but most of the scenes in the films, they're usually pretty useful. They usually serve a purpose in the film. And this movie did feel usefully 50 minutes. It's never boring, thank God. Like, this movie could be boring. I don't know why, but just, like, to be fair, the action in this movie is not great. Like, it's not great action, and, like, that's no insult, because I kind of have to compare it to every other movie I've grown up and watched my entire life. If this was the very first movie I'd seen, I would be blown away. But it's not. It's like the 550th. So, I'm not that blown. The action in this movie is not bad action when you consider what we have here. But once I compare it to Endgame, it's nothing compared to Endgame. But then again, Endgame's $357 million. It's hard to really review this movie in that sense, because it's so different than, like, Endgame. It's completely different. It's in its own area. It's in its own box. Like, there's the big blockbusters. All the movies you see. Peanut Butter Falcon, The Farewell, Avengers Endgame, Toy Story 4. There's that stuff. And then there's YouTube movies. Most of my movies would fall into there. There are some other YouTube fan films that have been made. There are Dark Star Studios films. And that category is something that this category will have over any of the other category, is that these films are so much, they have such a charm to them. Like, all of 4 of the Dark Star Studios films have such charm to them that no blockbuster could ever achieve, because there's so much high production in those films. But for some reason, these movies not having very high production, I don't know why I did this, it's just I like to do that. These movies not having very high production, it's surprising to see it. Like it's just, for some reason, it just not being that professional, not being that high production, watching it, I was just entertained by it, to be honest. I'm not going to call this a perfect movie, and the thing is that it's like, if I want to nitpick the film and I could go, oh, I didn't like this, it's not, like, something I can really criticize, to be honest. Like, when I think about it, I'm like, oh, I didn't really like that element, But I'm like, well, what do you expect? This is not like an Endgame. Like, if all some of this was an Endgame, I would be severely disappointed. But this is not from an expensive. This is not an expensive movie, so I'm not disappointed by it. I'm surprised by it, more or less. And production-wise, the film, for a very low... I am jealous, by the way. There's a freaking green screen in the film, and I'm sitting here like, I want a green screen, but I also don't, because it looks fake. Like, in every movie, besides, like, of Endgame, where it's, like, multi-million dollars. Whenever I see a film like The Amazing Bulk has green screen, it looks fake as heck. Granted, I have more freedom with the green screen, but the movie just looks worse now, so I try and be I've never put a special effects in my film, and I'm going to keep it that way, unless I have to. I try and be very more practical, try to do more practical effects than special post effects, to be honest. Besides, like, editing choices, I never put special effects for my films. These films are different. There are a lot more special effects in them, which, to be fair, these movies are far more, like, you compare Hitman's Code to this movie. This movie is far more ambitious than Hitman's Code. Like, Hitman's Code is on budget. This movie, even though, if you pitched this movie to me and you were like, I'm gonna make this into $0, and you pitched it to me, I'd be like, how? But then again, you watch it, and there's such a charm to it because it's cheap. Like, if this movie... It's so hard to pinpoint, because it's like, I don't know what makes this movie so joyful. I think it's just that these movies are low production, and for some reason that just makes them joyful, watching them getting formed out of it. And the movie looks very fake a lot of times. That's not a criticism, because this movie doesn't have a lot of money behind it. And I'm going to call it cheap. I'm never going to call it completely no money, because I don't know. I can't confirm. I'm just assuming no money was put into it, but that's assumptions, so I'm not going to do that. But this is a cheap movie, so surprisingly enough, I watch it and I'm just entertained by it, to be honest. Like, the charm of the film being so cheap makes it good. I am very much repeating myself here. This review is not a mess. This review's a mess. I'm just going to upload it, even though it's a mess. I'm just going to upload it anyway. Acting in this film isn't great either, but I don't expect... For a film like this, it's good. A lot of time when I say something in this movie isn't great or very good, it's because it's not like it could really be better. Like, unless you got, like, Christopher Nolan, you gave him no money and just told him, go make a film out of this script. First of all, he wouldn't do it. Second of all, if he did do it, he would do it very well because he's Christopher Nolan. But the director of this movie hasn't directed as many films or as many long films or as many hours of films as Christopher Nolan has. Because I have, by the end of this year, I will have directed as many films as Quentin Tarantino. Not nearly as many hours, though. Maybe, I think I have directed over an hour of film, though. But, point being that this film isn't high production. And it surprised me in that sense. And I have ADHD. This review is making that very apparent, that I just go all over the place. And I'm going to talk about the ending finally, because I haven't really made this a spoiler video until now. Spoiler alert. So at the end of this film, if you watch all 3 parts, which I'm not really separating down to 3 parts, but I guess I could. At the end of part 2, everybody dies, which I liked. I think they did. I think his sisters died. I think the main character, Christian, I think his sisters died. And I think R4 and I know R5. Yeah, R4. I get the mix up. I know R4 died. Don't know if R5 died. I think he did, because Earth did not look very happy at the end of that. By the way, I liked how there was Independence Day footage there. I think that was Independence Day. It looked like it to me. Just when LA gets blown up in Independence Day, kind of looks like that. Not a great film. The Independence Day is actually, this movie's probably a movie I'd rather watch again. But what was I saying? The ending of this film, so I guess Christian just, he friggin' kills himself, and it kills the R3, the main villain. And It, which I just liked that. I just liked how it didn't end with the It getting killed, and then, or I think it got killed. That's what I understood. Oh my god, no. Turn back. There you go. I understood that the It got killed. I'm not sure, though. Not the It. That's weird to think, because, like, It Chapter 2 just came out, which I will make a review for, hopefully. I'm not talking about It, like the clown. I mean big cloud that causes jealousy. I don't know if that's in the book, but in a very serious movie like A Wrinkle in Time, that doesn't actually make any sense, but whatever. Point being that, I guess the book is serious, whatever. Everybody dies. Everybody dies. But the main characters don't lose. Like, the protagonists don't end the movie losing. They end the movie winning, but dying, if you get what I mean. It's like, at the end of this film, remember Glass? You remember that movie? Spoilers for that movie, by the way. I think everybody's seen it. Remember how disappointed I was by its ending? Because that ending still bugs me to this day. But I think there are directions that ain't gonna go, because everybody died. That's just how it ended. Everybody died. And this movie, everybody dies at the end, but they win. It's satisfying. It's a conclusion. It's a satisfying conclusion. There are this whole series as a whole is nearly 2 hours long. I want to recommend something, Christian. I would think it would be cool. I don't know if you can, because if you couldn't upload Era as a whole 50-minute movie, if you just took all 3 movies and just made one epic, you would have a feature-length film. Granted, I hear that a lot. I don't know if you guys can hear it. There's just somebody riding a motorcycle in circles outside. I think that if you just combine all the films, that'd be kind of funny. Or it would be cool. I was thinking of doing Out Transfer. I don't think I will, though. I just don't think I will. They don't seem connected enough to be. But the point being that it'd be cool to see them all connected into one epic, and then I could just watch them all through. You can also add them all to a playlist and just watch them all that way. That works, too. And I would recommend, if you guys haven't seen them, if you haven't seen them, you just spoiled yourself for them. But go watch them. That's just my opinion. And this review is really long, but I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. This movie was immensely satisfying, and I know, like, it seems like I was like, wait, were you really hyping this conclusion? You never talked about it on the channel. Well, it's mainly because, you know what? I'm going to start reacting to the trailers for Dark Star Studios. You know, I'm going to do it. Because I have gotten enough into the studio where I'm like, why not? Like, I'm like, the new Nowhere Man trailer I really liked, by the way. That was good. I'm very excited for that to come out. I don't know when that even comes out, though. But I'm going to start reacting to the trailers. I don't know why I didn't do that for this movie. Probably because I didn't plan on making a review for it. Probably because it wasn't that popular. But hey, I'll react to the trailers when they come out. Apparently a lot of the stuff is posted on Facebook, which I just don't have a Facebook. Neither do I plan to get a Facebook, because I have a Snapchat that I never, ever use. Do not ask my username, because I kind of use it for family. I have a TikTok that I never, ever, ever also use. I've messed around in it a couple times. And then I use Instagram, Twitter, Stardust, Letterbox, and YouTube all the time. So, and all those links are in the description, by the way, if you want to see me. You want to see my outside life, get a little peek of it from Instagram. You want to get updated news on the channel, you go to Twitter. You want to get, when I see a movie, get my exact rating, and then you get to watch the review later that day or later in the next day. Go to follow my Letterbox. And if you just want to see me react to stuff, go to my Stardust. Overall, I'm not going to give this movie a rating. I don't think I really can, because it's like, it's so different. Like, the rating scale, like, I try not to compare this movie to other big blockbusters, which I ended up doing as a whole. But as a whole, how do I rate this movie? Because it's so different from any other film. So I can't really rate it. I'm not going to give it a rating. If I were to give it maybe a Dark Star Studios rating, compared to the other ones, very, 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 this is a very bad rating, but I'd probably give it a 9 if I even had a rating. But I would embed the new rating system first. So don't say, oh, he gave Air with Man with Red Eyes at 9 out of 10, so that's one of the best movies of the year. I'm not even going to say this is one of the movies of the year, because, I mean, it is technically, but I'm not going to put it on my list or anything, because it's not comparable, to be honest. What do you guys think on this movie? And do you enjoy YouTube movies? I'm trying to watch a lot more of them because I want to support people like me. This is the longest take I've made of this video. So just to be frank, I think this is the best take. I think I stayed on topic the most and I did the best here. But anyway, I got an essay to write. That will happen a lot, by the way. By 4 weeks, I'll have written 4 essays. So, you can see, you'll see Stitch back there. He's been sitting here for 20 minutes. So, bye. Yeah, I guess It Too review will probably be the next video, unless some trailer comes out, which I know there have not been a lot of videos lately. It's because there's nothing to make. Okay, bye.